Good morning. Thank you again for joining us and having us into your space for this morning. Now let's get into matters business. Petroleum Authority of Uganda's first decade is a testament to what is possible when a nation decides to invest in strong institutions and of course when a nation also prioritizes environmental and social responsibility and places its people at the center of this level of progress. Now the Petroleum Authority of Uganda's journey from 2015 to 2025 up to 2026 is more than a sequence of milestones. It's a critical part of the story of a nation preparing itself to step confidently into a sector and into a new era on the global energy stage as an oil-producing nation with key strategic partnerships. Now, we do have a conversation that we're going to be having, and to delve in this particular conversation of a decade of regulatory services in the oil and gas sector, we are joined by Grace Kenganzi, who is a Senior Officer, Corporate Affairs at the Petroleum Authority of Uganda. Grace, good morning. Good to have you.
Good morning, Jerome. Happy to be here.
Well, pleasure's ours. How is the situation? How is the new year treating you so far?
It's treating me well. I can't believe we're in February.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're only left with a few days, really, to get into the third March, into March, rather, the third month of the year. Let's get into our conversation. What exactly is the role of the Petroleum Authority of Uganda? What do you do? And why does it matter in this stage of more than ever?
All right, so the Petroleum Authority of Uganda is the regulator for the oil and gas sector. So we oversee the oil and gas sector, the different value chains from exploration. So we monitor exploration, that's looking for oil. We also monitor the development and production, that is making sure infrastructure for getting oil is in place. We also monitor the transportation, that's why we have things like the East African crude oil pipeline. And most recently, our mandate has also expanded to a downstream with the new national petroleum policy. And so that's what the authority does in a nutshell. We oversee just the different, from exploration, development, production, transportation, making sure that the oil is first of all, got from the ground responsibly. We make sure that the environment is taken care of, in a way that it's also sustainable, that even future generations can enjoy it, and even Ugandans can benefit from it. Speaking of oil, just quickly, if someone just wants to know the difference between your roles and that of the National Oil Company of UNOC, per se, how best can someone differentiate the two entities? All right, so PAU is the regulator, so we monitor, we give oversight. However, the National Oil Company oversees the commercial interests of oil and gas in Uganda. So they are the business arm, in short, and we are the watchdog, for lack of a better word. So we regulate, they oversee the money to make sure that the oil and gas industry is commercially viable. Okay, and you're marking 10 years. Yes. Should be 11 ideally. But what are the key milestones and challenges of the authority over the 10 years? Let's first of all look at the milestones that you can sit down and say, we have done this and we are doing it really well. The first one is just having a governance structure as the authority. We are now in on our third strategic plan as the authority. We have a board of directors in place. This is also the third board of directors. We supervise the implementation of the different laws and regulations that the ministry set up in oil and gas. Internally, we have more than 48 manuals operating. So at least there's a clear regulatory schedule that we are following. And then, which means that we regulate responsibly. And then some of the milestones is we've seen three flagship oil and gas projects take shape. So we have the Tilenga project, which Total Energies oversees in Bulisa and Noya districts, which is at 63% completion. We have the Kingfisher project in Kube, which the Sinok Uganda Limited oversees, and it's at 76% completion. We have the East African Crude Oil Pipeline project, which is at 79% progress. So just seeing these flagship projects come up, seeing the infrastructure, seeing how the towns where these projects are taking place have developed, seeing just the road infrastructure is already a milestone. The third is we have made sure that there is sustainability, not just of the environment where the projects are taking place, but even the people. We have more people employed in the, not just in the oil and gas sector, but even in agriculture. We have the tourism industry growing because of, when the roads are developed, then it's easier for people to access, for example, the park. So all these benefits, these are the three milestones I can summarize. So sustainability, good governance, and responsible regulatory.
Okay, and when a journey like yours of 10 years, and then some of the milestones, let's look at some of some bits of the setbacks that you've experienced and you've been able to maneuver through, or what someone could term as the challenges over the past 10 years that you look back and say, as much as the journey of 10 years has been a huge success, we had some few setbacks here and there, and this is how we dealt with them. What are some of those?
So the sector has been privileged because most of what are the challenges have actually been opportunities. And I think that the biggest challenge has been perception because of how oil and gas was utilized elsewhere in Africa. There was a lot of misconception. There was a lot of people just not having hope in the sector, especially because of the environment. And for the authority, this has been an opportunity to set up safeguards to protect the environment and put up measures that ensure that oil and gas in Uganda does not suffer the same fate it has suffered elsewhere in Africa. So you will have, for example, all the projects before they were set up, we did environment and social impact assessments just to ensure to see how the projects will affect the environment and put safeguards in place. So you will find that currently in the development areas where the projects are being developed, you'll find that there are things like no flaring of gas. So you will never see those flames that you see, for example, when you see news stories of oil and gas development elsewhere. Things like ensuring that the animals, because some of our projects also are within the park. So ensuring that the animals, the biodiversity there is not interrupted. Also ensuring that Ugandans benefit. That's why we have a national content policy. And that's why we ensure that Ugandan companies are employed in the sector. So there are some services that are earmarked for Ugandan companies. So that ensures that we do not face the problems that other countries have faced. And that has been because before we started development, there's a lot of benchmarking with other countries that were doing well, countries like Norway. And we learned all these best practices and we are applying them. Okay. So what were challenges were actually opportunities for Uganda to learn. And speaking of Ugandans, those that are watching us at home, how is the sector benefiting everyday Ugandans now, before the oil even begins to flow, really? Okay, so first of all, there are people who are employed directly within the oil and gas projects. So there are more than 20,000 jobs that have been created, whether directly or indirectly. So the people who are working in the projects, the people who are providing services in the projects. Then, of course, there are those linkages where we have hotels coming up because there's a need for accommodation. And then there's also now the oil and gas sector has created a supply chain opportunity for different Ugandans. For example, 86% of the contracts that have been got in the oil and gas sector were awarded to Ugandan enterprises. So we have about $2.23 billion going to Ugandan companies already as a benefit. And then because of having joint ventures where international companies that have capabilities that Ugandans may not have, right now, with national content, what we do is we have joint ventures. So the company that has the skills partner goes into a joint venture with a Ugandan company, and then they transfer the skills that they didn't have before, and then they develop. So now you will find that in the oil and gas projects, for example, we have drilling waste management facilities run by Ugandans, which was not the case before. And then, of course, skills development. The companies are required to train Ugandans, especially in the different skills that were not there before. So we'll have the companies partnering with institutes like the Uganda Petroleum Institute in Chigumba to train people in drilling and using drilling software. And then they take them out of Uganda and just expose them, and then they can come back and work. And this don't just work in the oil and gas sector. We have welders. They're trained as welders, but now they're working elsewhere. We have people who are trained in driving those the big vehicles, heavy machinery, operating that heavy machinery, and they're working outside the sector. So, and then of course there's also when the different project affected people were good, the people who were the projects, those were given either land to go elsewhere so that the project support.
Is it the PAPs?
Yes, the project affected people. They went through livelihood restoration programs and got skills, especially in agriculture. So you will find that some of them have improved their farming practices. They have become larger scale farmers because of this exposure.
Okay.
Yeah, among other things.
All right, let's now look at on the government's front. Let's look at the contribution of the Petroleum Authority to Uganda's economic growth. There's so much the country wants to achieve economically, including boosting the economy to $500 billion US. Let's look at your contribution then.
So over the years, just from 2009, petroleum revenues that have been collected are about 3.7 trillion Ugandan shillings. That's a significant contribution for a sector that has not even, we've not yet even got the commercial oil, what we like calling fast oil, and already the petroleum, oil and gas is contributing that kind of revenue, and this kind of revenue of course goes into other sectors. So that is some of the that's some of the contribution that we have had. And then some of the funds that have gone into the petroleum fund are already contributing to, as I said, roads. We've seen I don't know if you've seen the Hoima Stadium. Some of the funds that came from the petroleum fund. And yeah, so that kind of contribution, of course, even before we get fast oil, cannot be, it can't be underestimated. And that's on top of the job creation I had mentioned, the linkages with other sectors of the economy, like agriculture, like infrastructure, where we have, again, the roads. With even banking, because the sector has also trained banking and finance, has trained some small and medium enterprises to participate in oil and gas, and just giving them financial literacy, even beyond oil and gas. Yeah.
And there's when Uganda started this journey of oil and gas, there were conversations about climate change.
Yes.
There was conversations about environmental concerns. We even have civil society players who are going on, road demonstrations, roadside, peaceful demonstrations saying, say no to, to ECOP, say no to oil, oil drilling and all of this, here and there. What is being done to protect Uganda's, rich biodiversity, especially when you look at areas of oil activities?
So thank you. A lot is being done, even before development. As I mentioned, we have the assessments we did already showed us what to do. So even in the way the construction is done on site, they ensure that things like even just a topsoil is taken care of. So as they're constructing, they'll remove the topsoil, put it somewhere, preserve it, and then as they are building, they're ensuring that that there's no spillage. So as the authority, we monitor all that. We always have people on site ensuring that things are happening in an environmentally friendly way. We work with other agencies like the Uganda Wildlife Authority and the National Environment Management Authority, just to make sure that we don't work in a silo. So our regulation works also with these agencies, ensuring that oil development does not destroy the environment. Even things like making sure that the animals do not go into the community. So we work again with UWA to ensure that there are things like electric fencing that don't just affect the project, but also don't affect the people. And then, as I said, we have a lot of benchmarking that we've done in other countries and how they have done it. And most the people in the authority have been trained by these people in different environment, health and safety parameters that they take. And then there's a lot of also, we prepare for things that might happen. So one of the things that they keep talking about is oil spills, because that will happen elsewhere. So we'll have people doing drills in the event of an oil spill, God forbid. What would happen? So they have been trained, they have equipment that they keep doing drills to ensure that in the event, in the unlikely event that it happens, people know what to do. We have, again, working with UWA, things like preserving just species of crops. I mean, when we take people to the oil fields, they're always impressed by the detail in which we go. Like, we'll make sure plant species that are endangered, maybe they're put somewhere else, and then they're restored. If you go to some of the sites where exploration happened in the park, the only thing that will show you that there was actually any activity is a stone, because the ground was restored completely, the vegetation is back, the animals are back. There's just a stone to mark and show exploration once happened here. And that's because a lot of time was taken to just prepare all these things.
Yeah. Patience is a virtue that not so many people have, but at times it's tested. Yes. Tested in regards to how long can someone handle a given situation. Now, in this regard, oil production has been promised to start soon, but the delay to some of the Ugandans really might be long overdue. So we need to look at what is delaying, this production of Uganda's oil, and what should Ugandans expect after 2026 when first oil is finally achieved.
Right, thank you. So the delay was necessary. I mean, we're on a journey, and so before you start a journey, the things you need to prepare. You don't just get up and go. And so we had to make sure that there are policies in place, that the people are skilled, that there's actually money to do the work, that there are people who can provide the services required. And all this took time. I mean, you'd rather delay a journey and be well prepared than start quickly, and then you're trying to catch up with what to do here and there. And so Uganda delayed to put all these things in place, all the things we've mentioned. And well, of course, we had things like COVID coming in, but we are almost there. Already, as I've said, 19 out of, for example, the wells we need for Kingfisher are already there. The 17 are also already there in Telenga. So a lot is already happening. And patience, I know, will pay for Ugandans. And after first oil, of course, we hope that we'll now start, the refinery now will come up and we'll start producing our own oil here. So, and of course, exploration hasn't also stopped. People are still looking for oil. So we hope this will show people that, Uganda is a viable country to invest in oil and gas.
All right, and as we're summing up with our conversation, oil and gas, very interesting bit of things for people who are looking at it as a game changer for Uganda in the next few years. For you as an individual who has seen firsthand, what does the future look like for Uganda, and what would be your words of encouragement and your parting shots? Grace. Yeah,
so my word of encouragement is to know that the oil and gas sector is still growing. Beyond the oil that we talk about, there are very many industries that are going to come out of the oil. I mean, we use things like plastics. Even the components in this computer use byproducts of oil and gas, and just being able to produce it here having cooking gas produced in Uganda, for example, is something we should look forward to, something we should be proud of. And so I encourage Ugandans to, continue educating themselves about the oil and gas sector, to encourage people who are pursuing careers in oil and gas, to inform themselves when they see any information that may seem wrong, because a lot of the time there's a lot of misinformation, and to visit the Petroleum Authority of Uganda's social media pages. Contact us if you have any concerns. We are always ready to answer your questions, and just let's keep seeing our sector growing.
Well, indeed, and thank you very much, Grace, for joining us this morning. Grace Kenganzi is the Senior Officer, Corporate Affairs, Petroleum Authority of Uganda. Decade of testament to what is possible and what we're likely to be experiencing in the next years to come, or the future of Uganda's oil and